Hey, this is Legit Retro Gaming, and today we're going to be authenticating Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo, also known as Final Fantasy VI. So, as everybody knows with the North American release, since the several previous Final Fantasy games weren't released, Final Fantasy VI was changed to Final Fantasy III. This came out back in 1994. It's a very highly praised, highly regarded game. On eBay it goes from anywhere between $80 to over $100. So this is definitely a sought after game in a Super Nintendo collection. It's a big game with lots of characters, story, and we're going to see that when we look inside the PCB at the chips. So, as we can see, the label is really nice. It's almost kind of glossy looking, which initially made me worried since, it kind of seemed like a reproduction. But, yeah, this is a really nice label. None of the logos are blurry, which is a good sign. The outside of the cartridge is very smooth. It's not sandy like a reproduction cartridge would be. That's a good sign. So, one important thing to look for is the factory number stamp here. So, that's good. Pretty good so far. Alright, let's open it up and look at the PCB board. Alright, so as you can see, it looks pretty nice. The Nintendo logo is here. We have the PCB serial number here, SHVC BJ3M. The battery is from 1994. As you can see here, that is a good sign. If you have a new battery, that does not mean the game is a reproduction, just that the battery might have been swapped, because these batteries are quite old. So, as we look at the PCB board, we can see the chips are all very nicely labeled in gold lettering. Right under the battery we have the decoder chip right here, and under that is the lockout chip with the CIC lettering, so you keep the game from being copied. So on this side we have three big chips. This is kind of unique compared to other Super Nintendo games, maybe most other RPGs, because we have one SROM at the top and two mask ROMs. The reason for that is, from what I can tell, this was, like I said, a very big game, and that's reflected well with the two mask ROMs. The manufacturer of my SRAM chip here is Gold Star, and the manufacturer for the mask ROMs I have are Sharp. However, there have been several other chip manufacturers, so yours could be a Fujitsu. You would see like an F logo here, or Micronix and an MX logo on the side. So it doesn't need to be the same manufacturer. The important thing to look for on the mask ROMs is the serial number for the game, which is SNES F60, as you can see on both the mask ROMs, which correlates to the serial number on the label, SNES F6. Okay, so yeah, those are mask ROMs there, and there's no label for the mask ROM. I can see that says mask ROM, but anyway, it's still pretty self-evident by the serial number for the game. Also, maybe you can also see on your chip, even though it's a different brand, like I said, these mask ROMs are also manufactured by Micronix and Fujitsu, you would see something like a 94 somewhere on the faceplate, which designates the manufacture year 1994. And in my case, the same with the SRAM, where the game is saved. We have a 94 here. So yep, everything looks pretty good. There's no suspicious characteristics about the PCB or the labels, outside labels, other than the really nice condition of the front label. So yeah, that is an authentic game. So stay tuned for next time. We're gonna look at another game from another genre, I guess, and don't get ripped off.